Assalamu alaikum. Good day to all. This is Khan Mehdi Hassan from Bangladesh. In today's lesson, I'm going to discuss from September 1, 1939, which is written by an American poet, W.S. Auden. So, the title of the poem refers to the beginning of World War II, the day when Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. So, let's discuss the poem. I sit on one of the dives on 52nd Street, uncertain and afraid, as the clever hopes expire. So, here in the first line, the poet sits in a bar, and as the Second World War has begun, the poet feels uncertain and afraid, and expresses his fear of the future. He fears that hopes for peace in the world have ended, expire. That means hopes for peace in the world have ended. So, from these four lines, we can say that the poet's uncertainty and fear regarding the outbreak of the Second World War is beautifully depicted in the poem. Sitting in a bar, the poet observes that the victims of the war have lost their mind, and their hopes and aspirations thereby diminish away. And then of a low, dishonest ticket, waves of anger and fear circulate over the bright and darkened lands of the earth. So, the beginning of World War II has made the poet worried. He now says that the world leaders of 1930s failed to prevent war, so he expresses his distrust of the leaders. The Second World War has created the atmosphere of anger and fear, and the fear of war has darkened darkened the lands of the earth. People all over the world have become afraid. Then, from this line, you can say that in the decade of dishonesty, the poet here says a low dishonest decade. By this line, he tries to convince that in the decade of dishonesty, nasty anger and fear are darkening the lands of the earth. So the poet is found hopeless and uncertain as fear and anger darkens the earth. Then, obsessing our private life, the unmentionable order of death offends the September night. So, the fear of war affects their private lives as well and their activities. The anxiety and fear of war have possessed their mind completely. Then the poet says that he senses the unpleasant smell, odor of death. That means unpleasant smell of death due to war. And this smell of death has damaged the atmosphere of September night. So the last three lines so the last three line indicates that there is a huge toll of death commencing on the September night. He experiences nothing but the order of death around. So let's talk about the theme of this poem. The poem deals with the horror, the utter frustration, and fright regarding the Second World War. The degradation of human values and morality is the ultimate realization of the poet. So, the poet is found hopeless and uncertain as fear and anger darkens the earth. He experiences nothing but the odor of death around. So, here is the theme. You can go. The poet's uncertainty and fear regarding the outbreak of the Second World War is beautifully depicted here in the poem. Sitting in a bar, the poet observes that the victims of the war have lost their mind, and their hopes and aspirations thereby diminish away. In the decade of dishonesty, nasty, anger, and fear are darkening the lands of earth. There is huge toll of death commencing on the September night. So this summary and theme has been taken from Maudud. That's all for today. Thank you for joining with me.